so here we have the Ampeg B-15N from Plugin Alliance and Brainworx, and this amp is based on the Ampeg Heritage B-15N. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and check it out, go over all of the options and see how it works. So let's start up here at the top. Of course, comes with a bunch of presets right up there. Then we have a bypass switch right here, as we do down here as well. Across the top, if we make some change and we want to go back, click that button. If you want to go forward, click that button. You have 32 steps of undo and redo. Then we have our 4 slots A, B, C, and D. So essentially each preset can have 4 different snapshots within it. So 4 different parameter settings. So set something on A, set something completely different on B here, for example. And quickly switch like that. A, B, C, and D. If you like something on, let's just move this around a bit. If you like something that's on C, we can copy it and then of course paste that over there into D, so on and so forth there. We can reset each of these slots to their defaults. Then we have our effects rack right there, which we'll get to in just a second. So down here on our input section, we have 2 different circuits here, either the 1964 or 1966. And the top row is 0 dB input, and down here would be -15. So if you have a bass that's really powerful, you might want to use the input 2 there. So let's check those out real quick. So input 1 on the 1964. -66. -15. All right. Then we have 2 separate tone stacks, one for the 64 channel and one for the 66 channel. So of course you can change those around on the fly here. Let me get a different sample there. And then we have a bias control, so you can choose the 64 bias or the 66 bias. Again, whichever sounds best to you, to get sort of a different kind of a character. All right, so then on to our effects rack. So we have a noise gate. Come back to this sample here, expand it out just for those who don't know what a noise gate is. So a noise gate is going to clamp down on our signal in these areas here between our playing. So you'll see the light come on whenever we hit those areas. And of course our threshold and the range. So way down here, it's not going to clamp down at all. So it's essentially off. Up here, it's going to clamp down quite a bit. So you can just sort of dim that output right here. Really closing down hard there. And you can of course turn off the noise gate completely right there if you want. Then we have our tight and smooth filters. And this is basically a high pass and a low pass. We can set this to either pre or post. So pre is going to be affecting that dry bass signal, and post will be affecting the signal after the amp. That's the same for both of these filters here. So we can tighten it up here, either at the bass level or at the amp level. And then same thing for the top end there as well. So we'll hear that a bit. So it's on pre right now. I can tighten up that dry bass, and then we're gonna get a different sound, on our tone stack that way. Or go to post, different sound there, right? Really cutting out that low end. Same thing for smooth here. It's on post right now. Cutting out that top end. There's not a lot of top end in this anyway. All right. So again, use that to taste there. So with the power soak, we can really pull this down and overdrive that power amp if we want. And of course, use your input gain to get a good level for the input of your bass, just in case your pickups are kind of weak. In general, it's going to be on 0. Of course, you can always pull this up if you want to really drive it in there as well. Pull the power soak down, then compensate here. Now we're really overdriving that power amp. Again, you can get sort of a different sound with that. In general, it's going to be around -3 or so, okay? Put our input gain back down. Going to pull this down just a bit more. Okay. Just control click to set these to default. We can also use the scroll wheel on our mouse to adjust these real quick. Then we have our recording chains, and for those who aren't familiar with the Brainworx amps, this is essentially impulse responses that are the cabinet and microphone and maybe some other, outboard hardware like an EQ or something like that as well. Instead of choosing a different model for a cab and a different model for a mic, we just choose a recording chain. And we also have this horn control here as well for a different sort of feel, a different sort of sound on that attack. All right, so let's go to this recording chain up here. By the way, if you want to use your own impulse responses, you can just turn that completely off with number 43 there. So as you can see, this is the B-15 2 Dynamic 57 mics or SM57s, and it says -EQ there. Here is plus EQ. Okay, so play that back. Switch it up. Switch it up. Different microphone. 8x10. It's pretty nice. Of course, adjust your tone stack after you make a selection there. Turn it down just a bit like that. Turn the horn on. Horn off. I really like the attack that horn control gives us. Then we have a plus and minus button to switch through our recording chains, and of course the old standby feature of our auto selection here. So we can have this automatically switch our recording chain by 1 bar all the way up to 8 bars. So just choose your time, choose auto, and go ahead and play your bass, physically play your bass. And then it will switch through your recording chains, so you're not having to stop and manually change things around there. Automatically switches for us. Of course, once you find the one you want, just turn auto off there and scroll back to the one that it was. It's a pretty good one. All right, so that is all of the controls here on the Ampeg B-15N. So now we'll go through and hear these samples, and I'll just go through some of these settings and adjust them as we play back here. of course, we also have presets up here as well. So that is the Ampeg B-15N. Head over here to pluginalliance.com to check it out more if you want and pick it up, or of course get it as part of your Mega Bundle subscription. So that is the Ampeg B-15N from Plugin Alliance and Brainworx.